city of Lowell, Massachusetts is home to many monuments, murals, and buildings that all constitute works of public art. But during a 10-year stretch beginning in the mid-1980s, the city embarked on an amazing effort to install public sculptures around the downtown. Over that decade, 9 were installed and a few have been added since then. All are located near mill buildings or canals that were central to the city's existence. Today's video will visit each of those monuments and talk a little bit about them. This is the first of Lowell's public sculptures. It's called Homage to Women. It's by Miko Kaufman of Tewksbury, Massachusetts. He was born in Romania. His family became refugees after World War II, and he received his art training in Italy before coming to the United States. The sculpture depicts 5 women figures who are supposed to be emblematic of the mill workers who were made so famous in the city of Lowell. But Kaufman explained that it's really dedicated to all women, because something that's universal to women is that they all work hard and that their work is typically undervalued. As I said, this was installed in 1984. It's in the Market Mills courtyard on Market Street, and it was Market Mills was formerly the Lowell Manufacturing Company, one of the big textile mills in the city of Lowell. This is the second Lowell sculpture. It's called The Worker. It was installed in 1985 here at the intersection at Market and Shattuck Street, across from the Market Mills and the Lowell National Historic Park Visitor Center. The Worker was designed by Ivan and Elliot Schwartz, brothers from Brooklyn, New York. And it consists of a life-size bronze Irish canal digger, and the figure is supposed to represent all workers. And the granite blocks are the type that were used in the walls of the mills of Lowell. And the flowing water, of course, represents the power of the canals. And this sculpture connects with 2 of the themes of the Lowell National Historic Park, labor and water power. So this is The Worker, the second of Lowell's public sculptures. This is the third sculpture. It's called Pawtucket Prism. It was installed in 1987. And it's here at the lower locks outside the former Hilton Hotel Inn and Conference Center and across from Middlesex Community College. It overlooks the Concord River and where the Pawtucket Canal flows into it. This piece was designed by Michio Ihara from Tokyo. It's a 20-foot high, and it consists of metal tubes and rotating cubes. Now, when this was initially installed, there were many more cubes than you can see now, and the outsides of them were gold colored. And the water would go up through the tubes and drop down onto the boxes, which would then rotate because of the falling water. And because they were highly polished, they would reflect the sunlight, and it was really a fantastic piece. As you can see, over time it's deteriorated. It was renovated by UMass Lowell several years ago, but the area is actually closed off. We can't get any closer to it. because I can see some of the pavement on the plaza is sinking in and creates a dangerous condition. And it's also somewhat overgrown. But this is Pawtucket Prism. It's the third of the Lowell sculptures. It was installed in 1987. This is the Jack Kerouac commemorative. It's the fourth of our sculptures. It was installed in 1988 on Eastern Canal Park. It was designed by Ben Moitena of Texas. It's a unique design. It consists of 10 granite rectangles positioned vertically. They're polished, and each one contains an excerpt from one of Kerouac's works. This is the former site of the Curran Morton warehouse. It was a giant cotton storage facility. But then in the 1980s, when the the Massachusetts Mills, excuse me, was being converted into housing, the developer wanted more open space to the front of the new apartment complex. And so the warehouse was demolished, and in its place came the Jack Kerouac Memorial. Kerouac was born in Lowell in 1922 and died in 1969, and he's buried here in Lowell. So this is the Jack Kerouac commemorative. So this is the location of the fifth of the Lowell sculptures. It was installed in 1989. This is the Pawtucket Canal, just as it splits from with the Eastern Canal right along Central Street, which we're looking at the bridge carrying traffic over Central Street. And so the name of the fifth sculpture was called Human Construction, 1989. It was designed by Carlos Dorian, who was a native of Argentina. He actually was a student at Lowell Technological Institute, a forerunner to today's UMass Lowell, and he teaches at Wellesley College. It sat upon a pier on either side of the former bridge. That bridge was replaced, and this new one opened in 2023, and the pier was removed. The pier formerly held buildings. When I was a kid growing up here in Lowell, the Strand Theater, one of the big downtown theaters, sat here. And it was only after the Strand was torn down that I even realized that there was a canal here, because there were buildings on both sides of it. It just looked like a continuation of the elevation of all the other buildings on Central Street. The human construction sculpture was made out of granite blocks, and it was the classic post and lintel construction. That's where the posts hold up kind of a crossbeam that has notches cut in it. This is one of the oldest forms of architecture. And Dorian said that it represents the endurance of the people of Lowell, but he also said it represented the unfinished nature of Lowell itself. And there were mirror installations on either side of the Central Street Bridge, and we'll walk over and shoot some video from the other side of the bridge in just a minute. So this is the west side of Central Street in the Pawtucket Canal. What you're looking at is where the pier that held the second component of human construction was located. It certainly doesn't look like they're going to reinstall the piece here. It's in storage, so I don't know what has become of, or what will become of it. We're looking up the Pawtucket Canal. This is heading west. In the distance, you can see the blue bridge is called the Nicky Songus Bridge. That's in the middle of the Hamilton Canal District. And the pathway of the canal between the brick buildings is sometimes referred to as the Industrial Canyon. So this is the former site of human construction. We're now at Boarding House Park, which is the location of the 6th of our sculptures. This one is actually 3 pieces that are spread around the park. They were installed in 1990, and they're called Lowell Sculptures 1, 2, and 3. The artist who did them is named Robert Cummings, who lives in Connecticut. This is the first piece. They're all considered kind of not only sculptures but also outdoor furniture, so they're intended for people to climb on them. And this consists of a silhouette of Francis Cabot Lowell, who's the man who inspired the city. He died before the city was founded. He was born in 1774 and died in 1817, but it was his associates that carried on his idea and founded Lowell. And this is the only known image of him. And behind the silhouette is an object that could be a spool of thread or a spindle, but it also resembles a beehive, which is a symbol of industriousness, something for which the people of Lowell have always been known for. So this is the first component of Lowell Sculptures 1, 2, and 3. Here's the second sculpture. It's another thread spool tilted at an angle, creates sort of a chair out of granite. And again, that could be a spool of thread or a spindle. It also could be the beehive. So this is number 2. And number 3 is right down here near the entrance to the Boot Cotton Mills Museum. And there are 2 components to this piece. The first is a granite smokestack, and the second is a jagged edge that sometimes referred to as a sawtooth roof. There were a number of buildings related to the mills in Lowell that had this kind of design, but also resembles the gears of a wheel of the type that was used in the mills. So this is Lowell Sculptures 1, 2, and 3, the 6th installation on the Lowell Sculpture Trail. Our 7th sculpture is called Agapetime. That's spelled Agapetime. It was installed in 1990. It's here on a plaza behind Middlesex Community College's urban campus and across from the former Indian Conference Center. It's at the junction of the Eastern Canal and the Pawtucket Canal at Lower Locks. Agapetime was commissioned and obtained by Paul and Nikki Songas. It consists of 3 bronze figures. Agapetime means love and honor, and it was intended to be a tribute to their families. And the 3 figures are intended to represent a family unit. Although it's been said that when Paul Songas traveled to the artist's New York City studio and he first saw it, he noticed that the little figure resembled an elephant, and Songas, a lifelong Democrat, joked about that. The artist, by the way, was named Dmitri Hadzi. And so this is Agapetime. The 8th sculpture installed is called Industry Not Servitude. It was installed in 1996 here on Lucy Larcom Park alongside the Merrimack Canal, which was the first power canal dug in Lowell. The artist who created this sculpture is Ellen Rothenberg of Chicago. It actually consists of 8 sculptural components, and I believe it was inspired by Lowell Cemetery. When Rothenberg received the commission, she traveled around Lowell, and on a trip to Lowell Cemetery she was struck by its beauty. And so rather than being a single object, industry not servitude consists of 8 granite or steel structures, many of which have text on them. And it really highlights the work of the Lowell Female Labor Reform Association, which was the first labor organization for female mill workers in the United States. Everyone's very familiar with the Lowell story of the mill girls who came here, who lived in the boarding houses, who participated in many cultural activities. They published magazines, but they also worked very hard. And as pressure on the mill owners grew to cut costs, the more was demanded of the female employees, and so they organized and they resisted some of the demands made on them. And that was one of the things that led to their replacement with immigrant labor. But a big part of the effort of the Female Labor Association was things like to eliminate the 14-hour workday and to make better conditions in the mills. And that's what this sculpture is intended to celebrate. Now, it's somewhat disrupted by the ongoing construction at Lowell High School, and so the actual, what's called the 14-hour clock, has been put in safekeeping until the construction is finished and the clock can be restored. But this is Industry Not Servitude, 1996, by Ellen Rothenberg. This is the 9th and the last of the original group of Lowell sculptures. It was installed in 1996. It's called Stele for the Merrimack. A stele is an ancient monument type, a vertical object that has images on it that tell a story. And this is designed by Peter Gorfain of Chicago. It's made out of bronze with a granite base. And on one side it contains many natural images from the Merrimack River, and interspersed with that is images of the mills and the workers in the mills. This is at the Tremont Yards at the Western Canal. It's now at the headquarters of the Jeanne d'Arc Credit Union. So this is Stele for the Merrimack. Although not a sculpture, more of a found object, the very first public art installation as part of this spree was located here on Mack Plaza on Shattuck Street, just across the street from the Market Mills. It's now home to the Trolley Museum. This was a giant wheel that was used in the Lawrence Mills. It was built in 1908 and it was used to power the textile equipment. It was manufactured in the Lowell Machine Shop, and it was part of the Lowell Heritage State Park, which was a precursor to the Lowell National Historic Park. And the purpose of it was to show the scale and the power of the hydro technology that was used in the city of Lowell. It was relocated from this spot in 1986, and it's in the National Park Service's Wanalancet Mills complex, but it was originally sat here on Mac Plaza. This is one of the newer sculptures in downtown Lowell. It's sometimes called Lowell Dedication Plaza or George Duncan Plaza. It's outside the Enterprise Bank headquarters, which was founded by George Duncan. The building formerly was the old City Hall in Lowell. This piece was designed by George's daughter, Allison Duncan, who's a landscape architect. It was dedicated in 2013. It consists of 3 steel smokestack-like objects. They represent the city's industrial past. The fact that they're rusted shows the city's decline, and the flowing water shows that the Merrimack and Concord rivers and the canals were central to Lowell's existence. So this is officially called George L. Duncan Park. It was financed and dedicated to the city by Mr. Duncan. This is one of the more recent sculptures in Lowell. It's called Hydro. It was installed in 2019 here in what is called Utopia Park, or sometimes called Point Park, because it forms a point between the Pawtucket Canal and the Merrimack Canal. But also Utopia because there's some thought that the people who founded Lowell wanted to create sort of a utopian environment for the workers. And that was the case until economic pressure caused them to be more concerned with cutting costs, and the utopia disappeared. But this is by the artist Nancy Selvage of Boston. It's a steel structure, and it simulates water flowing through a turbine gateway. It's meant to be something that people can climb on. The children can come here and have fun. But it's here in this park. It's across from the Lowell Judicial Center in the middle of the Hamilton Canal District. This large parcel here is supposed to have an apartment building constructed on it in the coming years. And I think part of the deal, the transfer of the land for the apartment building, was that the owner of the building would keep up and beautify this particular park and maintain the sculpture. So this is the newest of the Lowell sculptures, called Hydro, from 2019. Well, that concludes our tour of Lowell's public sculptures. The person perhaps most responsible for these installations was Paul Tsongas. He represented Lowell in Congress from 1974 to 1978, and then in the United States Senate from 78 to 84. Now later he said that when he was in Washington, he saw how much his young children enjoyed all of the sculptures and monuments that are throughout that city, and he wanted to bring the same thing to Lowell. He also said that great cultures are known for their art, or they're remembered for their art, and that sculpture endures. It's not as ephemeral as perhaps a painting or a piece of music. It's usually made of bronze or granite, so it is long-lasting. Now, beyond Tsongas, the public art installations tap into kind of the DNA of the city of Lowell. When the city was founded in 1826, it adopted a motto: art is the handmaid of human good. Now at the time, the type of art they were referring to was the mechanical arts. They celebrated the innovation that was occurring in Lowell. But over time, the definition of art in that context has evolved to incorporate the visual arts and all kinds of art. And particularly in the 21st century, when Lowell embrace the cultural economy. And so the public art installations, the sculptures that you've just seen, really are in keeping with Lowell's founding and its long-term motto, art is the handmaid of human good. Well, thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please come and see Lowell sometime. There's much to do and see here.